Chance for some severe storms later today as a cool front sweeps across the state and briefly hotter out ahead of it before temperatures drop once again tomorrow. Big divide in temperatures today thanks to a cool front that is moving across the state. Just around 70 in far northern Minnesota for highs, but low 90s here in the southern part of the state, and muggier air too. Those dew points have increased after this stretch of slightly cooler than normal temperatures that we had 5 days in a row, something that we haven't done since late April, early May. That front is kind of stretched across northern South Dakota and central Minnesota. We can see that in the wind shift and also a band of some clouds. That front is going to be the focus point for some thunderstorms developing later today, just like northern Minnesota saw yesterday, but it's also bringing some smoke with it. Northwesterly flow aloft and at the surface, bringing some of that western Canada wildfire smoke back into Minnesota. Now, most of it is elevated, so it's not quite affecting air quality in the same way as some of the smoke has the last couple go-arounds, but you'll notice the hazier skies and air quality will be briefly reduced somewhat. Earlier this morning, we were seeing moderate air quality in the northern part of the state, right near the cool front, so not hazardous even for sensitive groups, but definitely a decrease in the air quality, and that will sweep south right near the front through the day today, and then we should be back into good air quality. So the good news is the smoke plume is pretty narrow and right near the cool front, so the air quality forecast calls for moderate air quality today for most of the state, but already northern Minnesota will improve behind that front, and then tomorrow should be back into pretty good air quality again. But you'll notice the less than blue skies because of that front bringing some of that smoke. The bigger story with that front today is the chance of severe thunderstorms. We've got a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 for the southern part of the state into western Wisconsin. Northern Minnesota in the clear behind the front, but the main threats are going to be large hail, just like we saw yesterday in northern Minnesota. Couple of isolated wind gusts, but bigger hail is going to be the issue. We had golf ball size hail around Motley, also Gull Lake, so several clusters of hail reports from the storms last night. We're going to see probably a repeat scenario, but this time in about the southern third of the state into western Wisconsin. So with the heating of the day and then that timing of the front, storms probably popping right on top of the Twin Cities or south central Minnesota right in the late afternoon, evening hours. And then that'll be it. Once they go through, that's it. The nice thing about cold fronts is it's kind of a one and done scenario, and they are going to be spotty. Still a little question as to where those storms pop up and how severe they'll get. We have some differing values here for that convective available potential energy, or CAPE we call that, that shows the best instability and energy available for storms. Some of the models do keep the best values just to our south, but where storms do develop, models are hinting at some of those potentially severe wind gusts. These red areas are those possible 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Where that happens is a question, but the model's hinting that some storms could produce that. Not a real tornado day though. Significant tornado parameter pretty low, and that's mostly because the shear with this setup is behind the front. So that's where the winds will pick up aloft that would help to organize storms, but of course behind the cold front, we've lost all the instability at that point. So probably more of a hail day, and again, some of those isolated wind gusts. And then we're talking about some very slight chances of rain. The next chance will come late Tuesday night into early Wednesday. We see the probabilities increase here across southern Minnesota. Minor systems or little ripples in the atmosphere moving through occasionally through Friday. So don't be too scared off by the raindrops here. None of these are washouts, but there's just going to be the chance of some spotty showers kind of each of the next few days after Tuesday, and noticeably cooler, big drop in temperature, but also the dew point will be back in the low 40s tomorrow. So a 50% drop in the moisture content across the area will make it feel certainly more comfortable here Tuesday.